I'm an older dog, being 70 years of age.
Is that what you call it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I saw what happened before 1980, and I've seen what's happened after 1980. And I'd like to make these observations from 5,000 feet, and then I'll make a personal observation. It seems to me that we are not giving as a society enough attention to that fantastic collaborative instrument that we now have called the computer. And I think we've had so many laws that have been written that just little things trip people up. And among my friends who are not educated, it's bewildering because they don't have access to the understanding of all of the little rules that have to be counted on in today's society, given the explosion of laws that we have from Washington and from our states. And that's all as a result of the computer. So I guess as a personal view, I don't believe our society has grown up yet to understand how to use the computer wisely. Another observation that I have is I've talked to many sheriffs. And I've been curious as to why. I mean, they come and they tell me, Bill, you should understand, but in 1980, it was about 1980 that things changed, 1980, 1984. It was no longer a system of fact why you go to jail, as much as perception. If people thought you were on the other side or you'd done something wrong, you're more likely to go to jail these days. Now, I went to jail. I went to jail for being, in my opinion, a loving father. And the myriad of laws that are caught in these days for men, and here I'm a white male, well-educated, love my boys. And there are, and I, you know, without getting into my particular case, I found myself in jail, incarcerated for 6 months. And then I found myself getting out. And when you're a civil case, you haven't served the state any time, so there's no good time. And in 6 months, you go back to jail.
Bill, you might know, these are child support.
These are child issues, right? Now, it is amazing to me when this has happened to a person. I can imagine what it's like for a guy who doesn't have my background. When I came out, there was a whole process for me to get a job. And to make a long story short, I was offered an extremely good job at Deutsche Bank. However, I couldn't accept it because they came forward with the question, have you any issue? I said, well, I served my 6 months, but I may have to go back and serve after 6 months for another 6 months. Mr. Needham, would you hire you? I said, well, there's an issue, of course. No, I suppose I wouldn't. There are other talents that are out there. So, Mr. Lowery, what you talk about in this reentry issues and all the little things that catch up on people that you wouldn't ever expect if you haven't been through the process is very real. And I'm looking forward very, very much to reading your book.
Thank you very much. May I just say on this question of the employment of ex-offenders, there are ban the box campaigns that are underway in various jurisdictions. I have some students back at Brown University I just heard from, and they're mounting one in Rhode Island. Ban the box would be a kind of civil rights or equal employment protection that would prevent employers from asking the question which tripped you up at Deutsche Bank. And I am ambivalent about it. I mean, I certainly see the point, which is, you know, how's anybody ever going to get on track if they can't find a job? On the other hand, that counter question to you, would you hire you? That is to say, the employer has a legitimate interest in knowing about the history of an employee that bears on the bottom line, and this is important information. So to preclude it from people is kind of, you know, also extreme, and I'm just not sure about how I would come out at the end of the day. But it's the only kind of employment discrimination practically that's legal. You can post a sign in your window, no felons need apply. You know, you can't put any other word in there besides felon and have that not be in contravention of Civil Rights Act somewhere or another.
You know, maybe there ought to be a crime involving moral turpitude or some middle ground, because everything's a felony nowadays. I mean, seriously, I mean, Bill, you make a good point. I mean, everything is written up as several fishing licenses in our, yeah, I mean, just every session, I hate it to see them come back, because, you know, more things would become felonies. So, yeah.